SDH family, Atlanta,
Mhm.
everybody in the East Coast, everybody, everybody listens to your show. So nationwide, what's up? How's everybody doing?
We are bad and nationwide, quoting our friend ZZ Top from Texas. And that is how we always try to look at things. What I wanted to do this week was go over a couple of different topics. One of them we started in on yesterday, and it has to do with Sacramento and their project at the rail yards finally coming online, apparently. It's $1 billion, and it looks like that rail yards is going to be a thing finally. It's not going to be 12,000 seats, it's going to be 20. It's going to be the whole live, work, play thing. And there's going to be $1 billion investment, nothing to do with the city. It's all going to be from the tribe that is there, that is the majority partner of Sacramento Republic. And the thing that got me in this entire discussion was that Sacramento's media, they were looking at, and the mayor in Sacramento, they were looking at this as, hey, look what we're doing. We're building this, and, we're looking forward to the next steps. Everybody in their interviews and in their sound bites and in their paragraphs was sitting there thinking Major League Soccer, Major League Soccer. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, first off, I think that 20 is too small. But I thought that this was more of a play for USL Premier, for Wilton Rancheria, and for Republic than it would be toward Major League Soccer, because by the time you're done, as I sit here and state my case to you, if you're going to spend $1 billion on the stadium and everything around it to build, live, work, play, then you're going to have to pay more than $500 million for an expansion fee, which was what San Diego brought to the table. So you're looking at bare minimum, before you hire one person, of investing almost $2 billion to bring Major League Soccer to Sacramento. And I don't know if Wilton Rancheria wants to bring all of that scratch to the table. I was thinking USL Premier. Everybody in the media and the mayor was thinking Major League Soccer. What did you think when you saw that the rail yards were finally going to be a thing?
I thought pretty much like you that it was more of a USL play, and for a couple of reasons. One was the size of the stadium. Two was their particular fan base. When I've had the chance to cover their games here at Starfire, and that fan base travels as if they would, Timbers or, Rapids, Vancouver. They have a pretty solid fan base. It sounds like, or at least the fans that I've talked to, they don't feel the need to be validated by going into MLS, or that was the conversations that I've had with some of those fans. Um, so everything that you're talking about in terms of that additional component of money in comparison to how much more in revenue you would get back, because at the end of the day, if you're going into MLS, you're going into it with a business mindset. I mean, the sports level is important and you want your fan base to be there. But if it doesn't make sense in the numbers and it doesn't make sense within the business, then it's just not going to make sense for you to put that investment there. So to me, it did feel more like they're a team that can continue to be a pillar for USL as they have been for so long, and they can continue to harness that league for whatever it might be. And there have been changes, and there is a vision, and there is some ambition to better that league. So I did feel like it was more of a USL play than an MLS play. And man, another California team from MLS, I don't know.
Well, and I mean, you would be getting another top 30. I think it's a top 30 tri-market. It's Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto. It's another top 30 TV market. Yeah, okay, great, fine. But for me, yeah, you'd be getting Northern California and even the boss. When I was talking to her about it last night and I was breaking down everything, she goes, well, how far is it from San Jose to Sacramento? And I said, it's a couple hours. And so she's like, well, fans are going to be driving from one to the other, but do you really want to put in you want to put in another California team into this when you've already got Oakland in USL as a natural rival to Sacramento, and you've got San Jose there for Major League Soccer. Do you want to put another MLS team in that space? And I mean, she's bringing this stuff up. So I was like, this has got to be USL Premier. This doesn't, I mean, unless Wilton Rancheria wants to set $2 billion with a B on fire, and half of that heading to the other owners in the league, just so you can be Team 31 or Team 32. I was thinking this was USL Premier. I really was.
Yeah, and to build an academy and all of these other things. I mean, there's just so many additional components to it that I really do feel like the Sacramento Republic, and that's to their credit, they're this own brand within USL, and I feel like their value overall just stands out more in that USL level. And I don't want to limit or handicap ambition. I would never do that. But that's just the things that I kind of put together as I looked at this story and went back to some of those interactions that I've had. I haven't had the pleasure to talk to anybody in the front office from Sacramento. But maybe that's something that I can look into as well.
Yeah, and you're looking at a stadium coming online in 28, USL Premier coming online in 28, and I saw those two numbers match up, and I'm like, okay. So that's where my head was going in this entire time. But along those lines, Don Garber has said that they want to expand. They want 31 and 32. My guess is that's probably where you draw the line. And
I hope so.
yeah, well, I mean, because then if you go from there, then you really are thinking about, okay, if you're at 32 and you want to go to 34, then you may as well go to 40 and then set up pro rel yourself. And then that way you've got MLS 1, MLS 2, two groups of 20. And then, you have it work that way. But then who would be the two to get you to 32? If we pull Sacramento to the side, thinking that that's USL Premier, is it as simple as saying Vegas and Detroit? Is it somebody else that is thrown into that mix? I mean, for me, you figure Vegas is probably a no-brainer, but you've got to wonder, are they going to play at Allegiant? Are they going to move to are they going to create their own barn? Are they going to go from grass to turf, considering the grass in that building, when things have been at Allegiant, it gets chewed up pretty quick. And then Detroit, you're stepping on USL toes, but I don't think Major League Soccer cares. Where do you think 31 and 32 could come from?
Vegas is the one that I'm with you that it should be, or it will be, by all standards. Talking about the business side, talking about a place that I think would be at least interesting landing spot for talent globally. Right now, when we're starting to talk about all these stars going into now places like Orlando and all these things, maybe Vegas might not be the best place to go to for those of us that are around the United States or have been to Vegas, but maybe to those outside of the States or something to that effect. I think it'd be interesting to have it. Plus the soccer culture, plus this urgency to just feed Vegas with sports teams, to me just feels like that's what's next. The other one, I would not hate Detroit. Yeah. And I feel like that's the only other place that I can think that has been in the race long enough and has been rumored long enough that it would make sense. Mm-hmm. And Detroit is a city that rallies around their teams regardless of how good or bad they are. I mean, the Lions are a perfect example, and the Pistons. So they've had good times, bad times, and that fan base stays strong. So yeah, I feel like overall, between the soccer culture and, again, you have to think about the overall fan base. You got to think about the casual fan and what is there to do around the city. I feel like Detroit would be one that would not struggle to get a better, bigger fan base.
Mm-hmm. And Bart, Bart Keeler from the Soccer for US POD had mentioned Phoenix right now. I think either way, you're going to step on USL toes. Well, in Phoenix, Phoenix right now plays in a modular stadium at 34th and Washington. Phoenix Rising, and I think it's like 8. I think it's what it has a capacity for 8. For Division I status, you need to be, I think, double that, and you've got to have I think it's 16 or 18,000 minimum capacity for Division I status, and all those kinds of things. So you'd have to build your own barn. Do you take the Rising facility at 34th and Washington? Does USL convert itself over to Major League Soccer ownership? Because MLS is going to want the expansion fee. They're not going to want a relocated Vancouver franchise and figure it out there. It's going to probably have to be, at least if it's Phoenix, it's got to be domed, or it's got to be incredibly temperature ready. And you've got to be prepared to do all those late night games because of the weather in Phoenix. So, that to me would be the stumbling blocks. There would be weather and building a barn, and that. Detroit, space is there. Do you play in Ford Field until your specific soccer stadium is ready? I know Detroit City is building their own new one at an abandoned hospital site, and they're putting a lot of effort into that. So,
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking some combination, and Bart gets definitely a gold star here. Phoenix, Vegas just being a hot property just in general, everybody gravitating there, as you say, and then Detroit to go Eastern Conference, and then you have to kind of juggle the conferences and things like that. But yeah, when Sacramento came online yesterday, I was like, yeah, I've got to ask you about this when you came in. So that was where that topic came from. Other stuff on the board. Griezmann is now officially official. He's in Orlando. And to me, that's an instant yellow light. I know that I wanted to get red light, yellow light, green light with you here at the bye week, but that's a yellow light for me, considering you're dealing with an interim coach and you don't know who is going to be brought in. Does Griezmann have any say in that? He's coming in July. What's Orlando going to look like in July? Is the purple team going to be where they are? Are they going to continue to struggle? I mean, there are a lot of flashing yellow lights here with Griezmann going to the purple team.
And you know me for a long time, John, you know that I'm not the let's put at the parade for the veteran European player coming to retire here, because I feel like it fits to the narrative of this is still a retirement league, and they're going to come here unmotivated. I've seen the good and I've seen the bad. The good has been a guy like Mueller that has been such an electrical and influential piece of that team, and we have seen it gone poorly. So I remain happy with the acquisition for MLS. I do think that it provides another set of eyes. I think that Griezmann's still a very good striker at 35 years old. I think that he can rise the level of play for this team from several standpoints. I think that he's still a very good pressing striker. I think that he is a big enough name that this team can immediately get a higher caliber of talent that's going to help out a final third that has been an issue all season long. But that's not the only problem. So when you're going into a team that just got their coach scapegoated, and we talked about this last week, I said, look for that second game. They're going to get a reality check against Nashville, and oh boy, did they, right? So the problems with this Orlando team is the build of the roster, is the lack of a midfielder that can hold the tempo, that can hold possession. Without Wilder Cartagena, there's no defensive midfielder. There's nobody that could win a ball. I mean, every ball is a 50-50. There's nobody that can really handle that midfield. Defense has been catastrophic. Goalkeeping, don't even get me started. So this Orlando team just has so many holes that I don't know if Griezmann's enough. And to me, and we'll talk about green light, yellow light, red light, we'll get into that then, but I just don't think that Griezmann's enough just by himself to put this team at a better position. You talk about coaching. How does that work out? That sort of player needs some leadership. They need some structure. And if you're going to just allow him to come in and just be nilly-willy, then he's going to be another Higuain in his very first couple of seasons, where he's going to think he's going to come in here. It's going to be easy. It's going to be cake. And once things start getting hard, I just don't know if he's going to be able to put it all together and really be motivated enough to get this team moving forward. So I'm skeptical. Again, I don't want to sound too harsh. I love what it sounds like that MLS, and I feel like this is something that I want to touch on real quick as well. There's this odd or false narrative that MLS is going back to getting big time players, big name players. MLS has been doing that and has never stopped getting big time players, whether it's Gareth Bale or Cicchini or Insigne or Pipita Higuain. I mean, this MLS has always been good about just capitalizing on getting those sort of players. I think that what we're missing on is that MLS has turned themselves into a product that's good enough for Lionel Messi to take a chance in his career to say, look, I can go to MLS and not be, embarrassed, or I feel like this is a good place where I can finish my career, but it's competitive and I respect the league. Same thing with Griezmann. Griezmann could have gone anywhere else. He could have played anywhere else. He decides to come in here, and I get that there is a interest in the living situation and living in the U.S. and let's call it Disney World status and all of these things that you do get in Orlando. But if the league wasn't a competitive league, these guys would not come. And that includes Son and all these players that we've gotten recently. So I do think that MLS has gotten that much better. But to conclude the Orlando and Griezmann topic, I think he's going to be a quality player. He's going to come in, perform. I'm not sold on him making this team a playoff team right off the bat. There's way too many holes there, and we'll see where his success is at. I'm not ready to just name him the golden boot coming in the summer. I'm really not.
No, I'm right there with you. I got too many stop signs and on four-way intersections. So that for me right now, I'm like, I don't know. Two other names have kind of popped up and circulated in the last couple of days. Casemiro has circulated starting like last night that with him, his contract with Manchester United expires June 30, end of the fiscal year. And right now, Messi and friends interested, LAG interested, the Saudi league that we don't talk about, condone or endorse, is interested in Casemiro starting July, because it would be a free. And then obviously the future of Mo Salah. Everybody's been talking about his relationship with Sir Mohammed Mansour and San Diego as an option there. I could see worse places to have as an option when you're leaving Liverpool. But there's also, the league we don't talk about is interested in Mo Salah as well. Those ideas came across the last couple of days. Casemiro and Mo Salah, what did you think about that?
Those are both interesting in the exact same tier of none of these players are going to create Messi effects or Beckham effects or even Son effects to a certain level. I think they're fine players if you want to capitalize on getting butts in seats and jersey sales. And I don't want to take away the effectiveness of a guy like Casemiro that I think would be a good fit for LAG. When I saw the story and I started hearing about what was going on, I had talked to someone within LA that said, look, this is a guy that they had looked at and they had thought about as an option. So he is somebody that I think would be an interesting fit for that team. And he can still perform at 34 years old. But when it comes to both of these players, I see Casemiro closer to MLS than Mo Salah. I think Mo Salah, I don't know, just reading in between the lines of the way he talks about MLS and the way he talks about where his career is going, I don't see him leaving Europe. Yeah. And if he does leave Europe, I do think that it could be for the league that we don't talk about. But there's clear interest. I think it'd be cool to have him, sure. But I'm not dying about it. I hate this. MLS has to go get this guy. They absolutely have to. They need this guy. No, you don't. No, you don't. It'd be cool to have him, but you don't need either of these players.
all right, red light, yellow light, green light, since we're in the bye week. And do you want to start with the positive and go to the negative, or do you want to start with the negative and go to the positive?
Ooh, you know what? We'll end on the good note.
Okay.
So let's start with the red lights. For me, the biggest red light so far, and it's one that I honestly didn't think they were going to be this bad. I thought that they would struggle. Is the Philadelphia Union? I mean, I'm going chalk here. Extremely easy pick there, but Cardinals' inability to bring this team back from the dead, basically. I mean, he's just sitting there trying to shock this team back together, and there's no response. Is odd, and it's I don't want to make it a situation like they do in South America, where it feels like the players are trying to get the coach out, that there's some sort of misconnection and they just want him gone, because they're having moments for this Philadelphia team where you feel like they're almost there, but it feels like the LA Galaxy of about a season ago, where even when they get ahead in the score or they're playing well, you're just waiting for the chips to fall. Like you're waiting, oh, here we go. They're going to give up a goal. They're going to give up a PK. They're going to give up a set piece. And he just kind of gravitates from there. I think midfield has been okay. I think on offense, they're lacking a bit. But defensively, where this team has always been good at, it just has been unrecognizable. And it just concerns me. I don't see right now how or when this team is going to get back to at least middle form in the Eastern Conference.
Well, and to your point, you don't have Glesnes and Kai Wagner anymore. You now have Westfield and Oluwatu Makanya. So you have the younger players that are trying to learn the system of Bradley Carnell, which is, I guess, Jim Curtin adjacent. And you have young guys who are making mistakes, or if they're afraid of making mistakes, then they're playing too cautiously and things are allowed to happen in the gap spaces and they're being beaten from behind. The ball goes in behind and they're beaten there too. And so Andre Blake doesn't have his bodyguards anymore. And so I think that defensively, that's probably part of it. You lose for whatever reason. Ty Barabo goes to DC. Milan Olaski is now up top, and you're having to adjust to not having a lot of key players. And like I said, I've still got to go back and look at Bradley Carnell year 1 to year 2 with St. Louis City, because remember, year 1 in St. Louis, top seed in the West, played the system. You got found out because you had to play folks more than once, and they found you out. And then year 2, the way that it started, and it didn't go well, and Lutz Pfannenstiel basically said, "Yeah, okay, fam, we're done." And then Carnell gets bumped out. Is it the same thing? Is Bradley Carnell the coach that can get you to a certain level with the new things that he has in mind, and then when the league figures him out, it's him adjusting to the league, and that is the problem. In addition to the younger faces replacing all of those veterans that you had. So, like I said, that's my 2 cents when I'm looking at Philadelphia from a distance. And
it's a good reminder that, I mean, there were some key pieces there that were gone, and although you knew that there was going to be a step back when it came to at least volume of play, chance creation, definitely goals, because Baribo was a bad man. I mean, regardless of what anyone may think about Baribo maybe being just a poacher, the guy brings it, and he still does it in DC, where he's just angry. He plays angry, and I love that. I think he's one of those strikers that he's gonna get his way one way or another. And so there was going to be a step back. I just didn't think it was going to be bottom of the basement where, all your, first grade trophies were going to be at. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. And so that's what's concerning about this Philadelphia team. I don't doubt that they're going to get some help in the summer, but is it going to be too late? Perhaps.
Yellow light, who you got?
Oh man, yeah, yellow light was interesting because there's a lot of candidates for my yellow light. I really like Houston, regardless of the last score and all this thing. I thought that um, Dallas was another one that I wasn't very high on going into this season. Maybe a little lower than most, to be quite frank. It's uninspiring soccer. I didn't really see some of these pieces taking the next step, including Farrington, who has been, you know, surprisingly even better than he was last season. Peter Moose, I thought he might be gone, to be quite frank. So all those players stayed in, but I'm gonna go with, because I like admitting when I'm not totally right. I'm gonna go with San Jose. I think San Jose proved to me against Vancouver that Bruce still Bruce, and Bruce can still put together and give a, let's call it no name, or a not high profile defender the tools to be really, really good. This team defensively has been outstanding. I think the Niko Shakira, as all Nikos are, they're just good on the ball. Nikos are just a very cerebral individuals. And Niko Shakira has been great, man. He has been so much fun to watch. I think Judd has taken in his role of just being this co-stellar player that, you're going to be able to hand him the rock and he's going to do his job, he's going to do his duty. And then you got Timo Werner kind of elevating everything up. I didn't think it was enough. I honestly didn't, but I became a believer in this game against Vancouver, because I do believe that they struggled to parts of the games. They were able to play through it. Defensively, they were pretty sound, and then they created enough to get this game on their side. So, would this team be better with a Christian Espinosa? Absolutely. They dropped the ball there, and I think that they do need to add some pieces. But they went from a red for me, where I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, to being a playoff team. And so they go from red to yellow.
Then your green light is?
Oh man, my green light was also difficult because I wanted to go chalk with LAFC, because I do feel like everybody is really harping on, and I get it. It hasn't been pretty. It hasn't been pretty with LAFC. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it has been brilliant and this team has created all these chances. Yes, they're struggling. They probably should have, could have, would have lost to Austin this weekend, and they didn't. They still hold on to that unbeaten net part of the equation, and they're still high up in the standings. And I like them. I think that it's going to get better. I do believe in Marcos Santos. I think that this team's going to figure it out. But my green light, I'm going to focus it on a team that is going from yellow to green, and that also has done enough for me to think that they can play with the best in the West, and it's RSL. I mean, you've been hearing me talk better and better and better about RSL every single weekend. I continue to be impressed with the discipline. I continue to be impressed with the ability to counter, their wide play, their depth, and just their offensive power. So this is not something that we hear from a Pablo team necessarily, that this is a team that can really get out there and beat you on offense, because he's always been disciplined defensively. But when you add a Diego Luna to what is already working, man, you have to, if you're on top of the West, you must be looking and feeling the heat from RSL, because this is a very, very good team. That 2-2 draw against San Diego, I thought they could have won this game. I thought that they were very good on the ball. Gozzo, maybe not the best two-way player, but on offense, that kid's a problem. That kid is going to stretch out your defense. He's going to be a playmaker. He's going to be consistent in his pressing. I mean, in the way he presses with the ball. I mean, he's just so incisive consistently. Giliboki has been so good, so good. He's just a smart player. Like I said, I didn't have him referenced prior to coming to RSL. I'm not going to lie to you, but he just took a couple of games, including that cameo against the Sounders, to be like, man, this player sees the field differently. So they just have a lot of weapons with still a very compact, good defense, and a Rafael Cabral that I don't know where he found Chara's potion. Diego Chara might be sharing the secret because he looks younger. I mean, he just looks like he could really do it. So RSL just very put together, very balanced team. So they're my green light going from yellow to green.
So what is going on at Pulso Sports Sounder at Heart? What do folks need to know about here in the Bay as you get ready for World Cup qualifying and the Intercontinental playoffs and getting back to it? What's going on?
Yes. So we are going back to Providence in Swedish bouncy house today. So we'll be checking in with Brian Smetzer, seeing how things are going, getting some injury updates on Yemer, who's probably going to be out quite a long time, maybe 8 to 10 weeks. We're going to try to figure out what's going on with Hassani Dotson. Where's Jordan Morris after his quick cameo with the team? So we're going to be there today. So make sure you check out Pulso Sports, of course, and our YouTube channel for everything that we'll gather here today. Tomorrow with Jeremiah Oshen, as always, what we learned this week. Make sure that you check that out on the Thunder Cats Podcast Network, as well as Lobby's Coaches YouTube, that now is going to be running all of the videos from Thunder Hard. You'll be able to find those on Lobby's Coaches. And then on Monday, with Ari Lina Wall, we'll do the kickoff. Obviously, there's no MLS to look into, but we are going to focus a little bit on USMNT. Christian Roldana, obviously part of that team. We're going to talk a little bit about what's ahead for this Sounders team as well, that they have a really, really tough game against Tigres in CCC. So we'll still have some good content there on Monday on kickoff with
as always, my friend, great to see you. And please be safe going to the Providence and Swedish voting precinct and Bar and Grill. And we will catch up with you again same time next week. Love you very much, my friend. We'll see you soon.
You're the man, John. Appreciate you.
Niko Moreno. He's going to go get his 19th cup of coffee.